Welcome to Mainland TV, your local regional television station. I'm Chrissy Small, and in today's regional news. Local MP is up and away as new airline takes off. Nelson Street identity is recovering. Nelson's Battle of Britain commemoration turnout, and more. Taking off this week on the maiden flight for the new Origin Air service was Nelson MP Nick Smith. Competition in air service is hugely beneficial to the region, according to Dr Smith, who was a passenger with Origin Air on its first flight between Nelson and Wellington. He said the Origin Air flight between Nelson and Wellington is a positive and significant development in the region's air service, providing choice and competition, with the new airline already creating an additional 10 jobs within the region. It is also significant that Origin Air is 100% locally owned. Nick Smith was impressed by the service on the first flight, saying the Jetstream aircraft are fast and comfortable and the customer service was efficient and friendly. He also welcomed the announcement by Nelson Airport of its intention to build a new terminal facility. With increased air service links, larger passenger numbers and more airlines, the facilities will need to be upgraded. Nelson's MP will be encouraging the Nelson Airport Company to invest in an iconic building, hopefully with a timber design and an artistic flair that will represent the people of the region. An elderly Nelson man has been charged and is to appear in court after being identified as the man responsible for a vicious attack on well-known local identity and conscientious objector, Honi Mahiki, otherwise known as Lewis Stanton. The man, who has name suppression, is currently out on bail. He is accused of having poured an unidentified solvent into Honi's mouth while he was sleeping outside Nelson City Council, causing burning to his lips, mouth and throat. I caught up with Honi this week, who had assumed his usual position in Nelson's main street, and just to find out how he was recovering after his ordeal. I'm down here in Nelson's main street with Honi Mahiki, aka Lewis Stanton, who of course was viciously attacked about a month ago in his position outside of Nelson City Council while sleeping. Honi, how are you?
I'm alive and I'm kicking. I had a little bit of a kickback in the second week, but I'm still alive and I'm still kicking. I'm still here, I'm still doing it, and it's good to see how many more people are actually starting to realise just how valuable life is, and have appreciated more of what I'm actually doing.
Right, because you're kind of making a stand, really. It's not about a choice of lifestyle for you. This is about some kind of recognition for your rights, I believe.
That is right. Those rights that we all have is what the council took away from me. And so if they are allowed to get away with doing it with me, then they can do that with anybody and everybody else. And if they, the Nelson City Council, are allowed to get away with it, then what's to stop another council like the TDC or the Blenheim Borough Council to stop me from having the same rights?
Right. So, okay, now, Honi, we'll just go back to this attack here. Now, this is a 75-year-old man from Nelson.
79-year-old.
Oh, 79-year-old, sorry. Okay, give or take a few years. Who decided to take it upon himself to dish out what he decided must have been some kind of punishment for you, for your lifestyle.
That is correct. Even although this lifestyle that I've got here at the moment has been forced on me, I shouldn't have to be here. And
when you say forced, do you mean because your horse Barney, your home basically in effect has been taken away from you?
That is correct. The Nelson City Council started it all off, and they haven't finished it, and they won't finish it until they choose to finish it. They first of all have to want to finish or solve the problem that they created in the very first place.
Okay, so look, some people are going to say, well, Honi, you know, why should Nelson City Council allow you to be in the main street and not have the same rights as a car? What do you say to that?
Well, that's not the issue. The real issue is, did they have the right in the very first place to trespassed me from 99.644% of Nelson, and secondly, 2 days later, have me arrested for trespassing or believed trespassing on one of those places, and then take my home and contents for the next 18 months and force me to be out on the street. Okay. So
this is why you.
Why aren't they having to be accountable for what they created?
So this is why you've been camping outside council.
That's dead right. Because where else is there? You know, if we are allowed all these rights that we're supposed to be able to have, then who gives them the right to take those things away from us?
So who is...
Not a bloody drone. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, so honey, you're here. You obviously you are getting a lot of flack, but you know you get some kindness too.
That's right. There are people out there that have got the gift of the heart, and they are the ones that help to feed me, to clothe me, simply with that little thing called a koha.
Okay.
And they are the ones that give from the heart.
It's all a load of rubbish. Don't believe any of it.
So we seem to have a indication that it's the elderly actually, the older people in the community who seem to be giving you this flack. Is that right?
That's right.
A bit like the 79-year-old man who attacked you.
Absolutely.
And have you had many elderly people come and say they're really disappointed by his behaviour?
I have had a few, yes, but a lot of the elderly people that are against me are the very ones that lived through a depression. They are the very ones that their parents and that lived through World War II. You know?
Okay, so it's a bit of irony going on here.
It certainly is. You know?
What would you like to see happen now? I mean, okay, there's going to be a court case. That gentleman's obviously in quite a bit of trouble for doing what he did to you. What would you like to say to him for what he's done to you?
Well, those words I can't actually use. But, yeah, no, I'd rather not say anything on that.
You're going to remain here, obviously, until what, Barney's returned?
Well, there's a whole lot of fingers in the pie that have to be pulled out one by one.
Tell me, just quickly, what's council's approach been to you now since this attack?
Well, I think they're slowly coming around, but it's taking a long time. But it shouldn't have taken 4.5 years to this point anyway.
So you don't really want to be here, Honey. You want to get this resolved and sorted so you can move on?
I want to be out there doing exactly the same as what I was doing before the Nelson City Council stuffed up.
Last weekend marked the 75th commemoration of the Battle of Britain and the Pacific Wars. There was a great turnout of people at the Nelson Suburban Club on Saturday, with an estimated 50 people of all ages attending the service, which involved the Air Training Corps and was hosted by the Reverend Terry Squires. Mainland's Ethan Williams was there and caught up with two of the Nelson ATC cadets to ask them what these commemorations mean to them.
I think that they're really important because we need to remember those who fought so that we can be the way we are, and I think it's a really nice way because it's friendly.
I think it's really important, particularly for the youth of today, to be able to come to these events and remember those that have fallen, because like a lot of people get caught up in like internet and social media in current day where we don't really do a lot of reflecting back on the past. And particularly today, which is Battle of Britain Parade, because there's not a lot of people don't really remember this. So yeah, I think it's really important, particularly for the youth.
Ethan also caught up with Lindsay Campbell of the Nelson Air Force Association about the day's event.
At the commencement of the World War II, many New Zealand servicemen went to the UK, particularly to join the Royal Air Force. During the battle itself, our very small nation lost 47 aircrew, including 15 fighter pilots, 32 aircrew in bomber and coastal operations. To put that into perspective, Canada lost the same number, 47. Poland lost 32, and Australia lost 24. I think that our nation did exceptionally well, as is recorded in those numbers. With respect to the Pacific War, which people do tend to forget that New Zealand involvement was incredibly long and very expensive in manpower, the actual war itself lasted from 1941 to 1945 and stretched from the whole of the Pacific up to Solomon Islands and even beyond. There were approximately 25 squadrons involved. That's Royal New Zealand Air Force squadrons involved. And 7,000 servicemen, New Zealand servicemen, took part in that operation. As you saw today, the Air Training Corps are very much involved in the commemoration service. Now, we had approximately 20 airmen and airwomen in the actual Air Training Corps who were directly involved with us. It starts with the Air Training Corps, but it starts earlier with the education that the young people are getting. And hopefully they are taught something about the Battle of Britain, the Pacific War, and what this country did have to give to ensure the victory in the Pacific. It starts at the schools. And if we could get an involvement with young people actually thinking that a career in the armed forces would be advantageous to them and to the nation, then that is where the initial, I won't call it indoctrination, but I'll say that is where the first effort should be made in getting people involved.
Last month, protests took place around the country against the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement that is being led by the US and negotiated by 11 Pacific Rim countries. These protests drew more than 25,000 people from around the country, with an estimated 800 people turning out in Nelson alone. Mainland caught some of the action in 1903 Square when Green Party MP Stephen Brown got up and spoke to the crowd.
Well, this is very impromptu because we weren't going to be speaking, but the Green Party will not have any bar of the TPP, and we've been working relentlessly on that. In fact, Russell did two days, he did the primary question for the Greens on the TPP. And one of the examples he did was in Germany, where after Fukushima they decided they would stop any further development of nuclear power plants. And soon as they made that decision, a Swedish energy company that was involved set about going to sue them. Now this is around nuclear energy, that thing that we are so opposed to in New Zealand, and the investor-state disputes part is that is an example of how that would actually sort of kick in here. And I brought up other things here at other times that are prime examples. Your council not being able to make decisions that you wanted to make your lives better here, to make the environment of Nelson better. Those things being able to be taken over or by the corporates effectively. So we're working real hard. We're working, as I say, with questions in the House, with publicity around this, and we will continue to push. We're very, very pleased to see that Labor, under this sort of pressure, has actually come on as well. And at Parliament, where there's a rally of this sort of size this week, and David Parker was put on the spot there with their 5 points. Will you make that a bottom line? And ultimately, he yielded, and they'll come on for some of the points. We will go further. We've always pushed around these issues around free trade, but the investor-states dispute part is such a phenomenal thing, we must push back further. So fantastic to see this turnout. It's absolutely excellent. I'm sure it's the same throughout the country. Cheers.
Main opposition to this agreement, it seems, is around the investor-states dispute settlement, which will allow governments to be sued by overseas investors or corporations if laws are changed that devalue the company or its expected profits. Opponents to this agreement believe that this undermines the sovereignty of New Zealand and any future government's ability to regulate in the public's best interest. New Zealand has been nurturing China as one of its largest friendly trading partners, as evidenced in last week's China Week commemorations, with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between Nelson City Council and sister city Hangshui. Some in the anti-TPP movement in New Zealand are suggesting that the USA is trying to contain China and that the signing of the TPP could cause New Zealand to be stuck in the middle between the world's two superpowers. A legal challenge has also been launched to challenge the refusal of New Zealand's Trade Minister Tim Grosser to release a range of documents on the secret TPPA as requested by Professor Jane Kelsey under the Official Information Act. The High Court is being asked to declare that the Minister got the law wrong and should release some or all of the information asked for, including draft texts. I went out to ask people in Nelson their opinions on the TPPA, what they knew and whether they could see it being a good thing for New Zealand. What do you think of the TPP?
Stinks.
What do you know about it?
I know that it's been done in secret without the public knowing what's really in the clauses and the rules of it, and I know that if New Zealand wants to not have genetic engineering or do anything, we can be sued by multinationals. Yes, I don't want to have all our rights out of control like that.
I know that it's going on and I know what it's about, but I'm very interested to see how it turns out because I'm not quite sure whether it's good or bad.
Okay, so it's a wait and see.
It is a wait and see, yes.
I think it's a very, very dangerous piece of goods, all being negotiated behind closed doors at 2 a.m. in places where we don't even know where it's taking place, and the impacts on New Zealand could be absolutely horrendous on New Zealand people, on New Zealand business.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I'm not.
No.
No. Not at all.
Well, it's a secret, so I don't know.
Do you think it's good it's a secret thing?
Well, it seems that that's what's got to be done for these trade agreements, so I guess we voted for them. We'll have to trust that they've got it right.
I don't think it's a good thing for this country.
Yeah. So, what? Because it's negotiated in secret, or because of the disputes?
Partly because it's negotiated in secret, and partly because it tends to favour big business on the other side of the world, and the fact that this country, if we do anything that will end up being unfavourable to a big corporation overseas, they can sue this country, which is going to come out of the taxpayer's pocket.
Yeah, investor disputes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
So.
Okay, so no.
No for me, yes.
Okay.
I really know no more than he does, so I have to say no as well.
Does it really matter? The rest of the country is sort of, not flash, is it? I think we've got more important things to worry about than that at the moment.
Yeah. What kind of things?
Well, unemployment, cost of living, $26 million on a flag, Fonterra, a lot of I think we've got our heads in the sand a bit.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you don't really want to make a comment on the TPP, or you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, what transpires down the track might be a different story. We don't have a lot of confidence in certain politicians, do we? So one would want to be careful, I would imagine.
The Department of Conservation has been busy in the Abel Tasman National Park region, and so we sent Ethan Williams off to talk with Dock Ranger Chris Golding to discover what they have been up to.
So I'm here with Chris Golding of Dock Motueka office. And so Chris, what's been going on for Dock in the region recently?
I guess we're coming into spring now, so I guess in terms of the Abel Tasman National Park, the staff are gearing up for the summer ahead. Last year was the busiest summer on record, so we've got hut wardens starting very shortly in the park. Tracks are all getting in ship and shape, looking really good. And some of our other work, so it's coming into spring, so our weed control programs are kicking off. At the moment, staff are working out on the boulder bank. Staff are also working up in the Kaharangi National Park. The visitor assets team have been working on gravelling a section of the Mount Arthur track. We've also got Project Yanzoon staff working in the Able Tasman. They've largely been just carrying out routine stoat trapping checks. And also the other big project in Katarangi is the biodiversity team there and a Genesis funded project have been replacing all their traps, upgrading them to better versions. The blue duck nesting season's about to start, so they're getting geared up for that.
Cool. And how are things going with Project Yanzoon?
Oh, good. Yep. There's a lot going on in the park, and we're, I guess, in terms of the more visible aspects of the work, which is a joint project too with the Able Tasman Birdsong Trust, is the pine trees. So there's a large numbers of pine trees are being controlled, and that's probably the most visible thing people can see. There's a lot of pest control happening. Sometimes the benefits of that take a little bit of time before you can see them, but certainly in the top of the park or in Canaan, you certainly notice an increase in wildlife up there.
Fantastic. And pest control within the park's going all right?
Yeah, we've got a number of trapping programs in place, and we're always looking to fine tune that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time.
Detective Inspector Stu Graham of Ovcans told media that at approximately 12:15 a.m. Tuesday morning, a vehicle was stopped by a member of the Tasman District Armed Offenders Squad as it left the ferry terminal at Picton. The sole occupant was arrested, and a search of the vehicle resulted in a significant quantity of methamphetamine, estimated to be in excess of 1 kg, being seized. A 22-year-old man is due to appear in Blenheim District Court, charged with possession for supply of methamphetamine. The New Zealand Police are committed to interrupting the supply of illegal drugs in New Zealand and preventing the social harm that this illegal activity supports. It is estimated the street value of this latest seizure in Picton is in excess of $1 million New Zealand dollars. Police inquiries are continuing. If you see anything suspicious or have any information about any crime or drug-related activity in your community, you can contact local police or provide information anonymously by calling Crime Stoppers. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.
I'm Francis from Nelson Auto Glass. We repair all auto glass, stone chips, windscreen replacements, scratch removal.
If you have an auto glass issue, our team will sort it.
Nelson Auto Glass Specialists, 84 Vanguard Street, Nelson.
Hi everyone, I'm Malcolm Harris from the Facilitators. We now look after sales for Mainland TV, radio, Sky and online. New Zealand On Air's latest Colmar Brunton survey confirms Mainland's large multimedia audience. If you're in business or want to put a message out to everyone in the Nelson Tasman region, plus nationwide on Sky or worldwide online, please give me a call or see our website at www.mainlandtv.nz.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power.
Electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more.
JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
World War I was a defining period in our history, impacting greatly on the lives of people from the Nelson province. Memories of the First World War is an exhibition which will be displayed in a number of regional venues and is currently on at the Nelson Provincial Museum. Coming up this week, Fluoride Free Nelson is holding a meeting this Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. at the Yurt Free House. There will be speakers plus a presentation of some new scientific evidence. Senior Net Nelson has a gathering on Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. at Hastings Street with Chris Eckroyd of the Botanical Society, who will talk about plant recognition software. On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us, and we'll bring you some more of the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
This is a beautiful 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. It's a large internal access double garage. It fits 2 cars nicely with a little workshop bench at the end of it. In this room we have 2 large lazy boys, a 3-seater and a 2-seater leather lounge suite, 50-inch Samsung TV and a heat pump. Features are a cathedral ceiling and of course that beautiful view.
For relatively little cost, you too can sell your house. Do it yourself. You're the best person to promote and sell your own house. Your personal endorsement is the best selling proposition. Put yourself on screen and sell it. You know the attractions of your house. You know it better than anybody else. So, get up there and tell us all about it. Sell it.
Upstairs we have 3 bedrooms. One of these has a full ensuite. That's the master bedroom with large bifold doors. Now out these bifold doors you get to a wraparound deck area that faces northwest, and this is lovely in the morning for sitting and having your coffee.
Hawk Films is now producing for you an advertising package and a broadcasting service at a price far lower than you would expect. We will produce your advertising video and feature it across TV, radio and electronic media. Your message will be up to 3 minutes long and it'll be broadcast 5 times a day on radio and TV. 5 times a day. And it will be listed online all day, every day, for exposure to your potential buyers. You can also use the ad and the photos to promote your house on radio, TV, Trade Me and other real estate sites. We can also offer drone aerial shots for a totally different viewpoint from the one you would normally see. Selling your house is up to you and your solicitor. We're here to merely add value to your advertising strategy. Give me a call and let's get your property on the market. Or better still, email or text me and I'll call you back.
I'm Francis from Nelson Auto Glass. We repair all auto glass, stone chips, windscreen replacements, scratch removal.
If you have an auto glass issue, our team will sort it.
Nelson Auto Glass Specialists, 84 Vanguard Street, Nelson.